Welcome, my dear friends, music friends. I welcome you today for our interview. And I must say that it's my big pleasure today to welcome this fantastic harp player, really great harpist, and I must say also fantastic a human being, wonderful person. And I think that to make this together, it's something very special. And I must say that I'm very happy that today's interview invitation of mine has accepted wonderful SIVAN Magen. And from my point of view, as a harpist, I must say, I admire him really a lot. And I was very honored to be in the jury of the Israel International Harp Competition in 2007 when he got the first prize. So I'm very pleased to welcome today our wonderful guest, SIVAN Magen. Hello, SIVAN.
Hi, Jana.
First, I introduced your name wrongly. Now I'm correctly. SIVAN Magen. That's the correct.
Yes.
Tell me, why is it like that? Why is it like this, Magen?
Magen? Well, actually, it's Magen is a Hebrew word. A lot of people maybe know Magen David, which is the shield of David, which is the sign that kind of stands for David, that maybe he was holding on his shield when he was going to war or something like this. So Magen is just this Hebrew word that says shield or protector, and it's a different word from the German word Magen, and of course it's written the same way in Latin alphabet. Of course, in Hebrew it has its own letters, but
that's right.
Yeah.
And certainly many people, as I did also the wrong mistake that I was always pronouncing your name Magen, but it's Magen. So please, any of you remember it's Magen. It's never Magen as we are used to. Magen, SIVAN Magen. SIVAN, how are you? First of all, really, I'm so happy that you accepted my invitation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
You are now in Helsinki, right? In Finland.
Right. Yes. I'm very lucky, actually. It's it was kind of a surprise decision for myself to move here 3 years ago already. I've been here already for 3 years, and now when already I there are a lot of good things to be said about this country and its people and how the classical music scene here. There are many things that are fantastic here, but especially now during the Corona time, I feel so lucky because not only I have a job that I still get paid for, which a lot of my colleagues do not have, and I'm really, I'm thinking about my colleagues in the United States and in New York, where I used to live for many years, and I'm really very, very sad for them and scared for them. And in Israel, of course, the situation in Israel right now is really very, very difficult, and I think all over the world. So somehow Finland is really a great place to be right now because we have concerts and we can play, and of course there are limitations on number of people and masks and all kinds of things, but things are still going on here, and so I feel very, very lucky to be here during this period. So
just hope that we will not come to there either, because we were also in the same situation in our country, in Czech Republic, and as the people who are following the news, we are unfortunately nothing to be said so to be proud of it, but we are really the worst country in the whole Europe, and we are even in the whole world, we are the second. So it's really, and we were always very, very covered, very secured, and it has happened so sudden. So I hope in your country it will not come to this.
Yeah, I hope so also. There is, what is naturally kind of protective here is that it's a very large country by area, but there are not so many people here, and so there are not a lot of concentrations of people that. So the spread is slower, but it actually is getting worse here also, like everyone else, everywhere else right now.
Mainly take care of yourself. That's very important. Stay at home if you can. Practice, as we are happy to hear your playing. We have heard, and we will hear many of the videos, and I'm really excited to share with everybody. And of course, as everybody who is following our interviews know, the first question: how did you, as a man, decided to play ever the harp?
How did I decide to play the harp? It's of course it's always a question, and it's always a little difficult to answer because I don't really know how this happened. I don't remember maybe, but so I come from a musician's family. Both my parents are cellists, and my brothers played, and I started for a very short time with the cello when I was very little, between like 4.5 and 5.5 or something like this. Yes, those are the pictures.
There is a brother behind you, right?
Yes, this is my older brother. Yes, Carmelo, behind me. Yes, yeah, he played the piano. Then he also played the cello actually at the same period, and played the piano. And so for me, it was not. I think I don't remember, of course, but I stopped after not a very long time, a year or so. And at some point, quite early, I asked my parents to play the harp, but I'm not sure where the idea came from. I think maybe I heard it on the radio or something like this. I had some concept of a magical thing, and I think part of the fact that I wanted I asked them to play the harp is that I knew they knew nothing about it. You know, that when I was playing the cello, of course, I studied with them, and when my brother was playing the piano, and they could always give advice. And I mean, they were not very pushy parents. Yes, this is actually me playing the piano and my little brother playing the violin here. So I asked to play the harp because I think it's kind of far away. But then actually my dad called one of the harpists in Israel, who told him that it was too early to start the harp, because in Israel then there were no smaller harps, so the recommendation was that I start with the piano first, and I did start with the piano. I played for 3 years. And then we moved to France for a sabbatical for 1 year. And I didn't want to continue with the piano. I felt like I'm not practicing enough. And my dad suggested that I start. He said, "Oh, you used to want to play the harp. Why don't you try? In France, there are so many people who play the harp. It's a good place to start." And so I started. And then at the end of the year, moved back to Israel, and I moved into this music high school. And then I got to know other musicians, kids who played music and loved it, and I got so excited about music and the harp was my instrument, and so this became what was about.
That's good, the very important information. So what age you were when you really touched the harp for the first time?
I was 12.
12.
Yes.
So it was not really that you were so little one. You were really a child. And who was your first teacher who put your fingers on the harp?
So the first, so when I was in France, the first teacher was a lady named Pascale Schmidt. I haven't seen her since. I think she was teaching at the Boulogne Conservatory. But this was only for a few months. And then I moved to Israel, and I started studying with Irina Kaganovsky, which I think you have met in Israel, Irina Kaganovsky-Kessler. And she was my teacher in Israel for all the time that I was in Israel until I left to study in France. So. And
it is how old were you left?
When I left, I was already 21. I was already 21 when I moved. So I was 9 years with Irina, and then I did my military service. You know, there in Israel you have this 3-year compulsory military service, and happily we have this kind of outstanding musician program in which we get time off every day to go and practice. But I was in an office basically for 3 years, which was not very exciting and very, very boring and quite depressing, I must say. A lot of time in buses back and forth to my parents' place to practice. But it ended after 3 years, and then I went. Actually, the next day after I got out of the army, I finished my military service. I went to France, and I studied first with Germaine Lorenzini for 1 year. I lived in Paris. I would go to Lyon to take private lessons with her, and then with Isabelle Moretti at the conservatory for 3 more years.
So where you started, you come back to the country. And I just wonder, was it a big difference between of course, the first teacher always who gave you the hands on the harp?
Yes.
I feel that is the most important, because otherwise you need to change it. Or was there any change since you started until you came to Isabel, or did you had to change the hands?
When I came to Isabel and to Germaine first, and then to Isabel, I had to change a lot. I had to change a lot. It's very, very, very different schools of harp playing. And I must say, I think Irena was a very good teacher, but with some things, I think maybe she pushed me too early to difficult repertoire because I was older and I played the piano already, and so kind of my brain worked really fast, and so she skipped a lot of things on the way, a lot of repertoire that you use to build a technique. Where I went, I played, I don't know, a Spohr fantasy on my third year or something like this, or already kind of, and so it came with a lot of tension. It came with a lot of tension because I was always trying to play the difficult things, and kind of there was a lot of tension in my hands, in my body, and everything, and which is something I really needed to learn how to get rid of to a certain extent. Of course, when you're 21 and you're changing your technique, you can't change everything. It's not, you can't kind of start from the beginning and learn everything. But I changed quite a bit, I think, and I found it really very, very helpful, the things that I studied with Germaine, with Isabel. Of course, mainly with Isabel because I was with her many more years. And of course, it was very difficult, emotionally very, very difficult, because I came and I felt like I played all the repertoire, like the major repertoire already, and I came and I felt like, okay, I need to learn how to play the harp from zero again. And especially the conservatory, where there are so many fantastic players who are all younger than me, because I did the military service, so I arrived a little late, and they came just outside of high school, and they all played so naturally and everything, and I had to come and kind of learn again how to play the harp. But so it was very difficult emotionally, but I think it was extremely helpful for me.
I'm sure that it's very important to have this kind of competition next to you.
Yeah.
Because, in case you are still next to the good players, you are still motivated to work more, to get better. If you are the best one, then you have to go your way. The other ones are inspired by you, but you have to really be strong to go higher and higher. But already when you were in Paris, you got the first prize in Israel.
No.
So it was after.
No, it was after. Israel, I was in New York. I was in New York already. I was studying with Nancy. I did my master's in New York, and this was my second year in New York. I got the Israel prize.
Okay. No, because of course, we will see on the videos, and of course, the harpists know you. But in case there are non-harpists listening to you can really see that your touch, it's so beautiful. You have great sound, full sound. You have really harp. Really great artist sound, not harpistic sound. And I really admire that there are players like you, because this is something how we can really only achieve to be respected musicians. So I'm so glad that there are really harpists like you are, and that the sound sounds like a real instrument. Do you think that your education in piano helped you a lot to have idea what you want to achieve in the harp?
For sure. I did. So like I said, I started with the piano, and then I stopped and started the harp. And then later on, I kind of started the piano again as a secondary instrument. And a big part of it was, my dad was teaching at home, and he would call me to sight read something with his students, like accompanying a Saint-Saëns cello concerto or something like this, or Haydn or whatever. And things like this, and I would accompany my little brother who played the violin, or I would sight read with my friends, or all of us together as a family, we would sight read, and so I got to know a lot of music in a very direct contact somehow. Which yes, this is my dad with two of his students in a festival in Spain. So my dad is he was a professor at the Jerusalem Academy for almost 40 years, and he retired already quite a few years ago, but he still teaches a lot. He has a lot of students, I think there is something very often with harp students that they don't get to play kind of the major repertoire. Of course, we don't have the major repertoire. We don't have almost any Mozart or Haydn or Beethoven or Brahms or Schubert or like all these things to build us as musicians. And we only get to confront this kind of repertoire when we are at the most advanced of the instrument. And so we get to the most difficult pieces, to the most important pieces in our repertoire without having gotten to know all this before. And so for me, I feel like it was really extremely helpful to play all this, to read all this repertoire on the piano, you know, even if I couldn't really play all the Beethoven sonatas, or, you know, some of them I really practiced, but mostly I just sat down and read on the piano, you know, sight read on the piano all the Beethoven sonatas and all the Mozart sonatas and all the, you know, kind of, and got used to it. And of course, playing chamber music on the piano, which is so much easier than on the harp somehow, you know, you just have this immediate contact. You can sit down and read, of course, depending what. I'm not talking about Brahms trios, but you can sit down and read a lot of things and just play with people when you are not the most greatest virtuoso yet, you know, and it allows you to learn how to listen and how to. And I must say that something about the sound is also what you were talking about sound earlier. Like Irena, my Russian teacher, my first teacher, she was extremely worried about sound all the time. It was always the main thing that she was talking about. So even if she didn't know always what to tell me physically about how to get there, the listening kind of the ear was developed from a young age, I think, of looking like, no, I knew what kind of sound I was looking for kind of in my ear. And so when I got the tools to do it, I knew how to use them in a way. And I think this is important. That also today when I'm teaching, I feel very often that students have fantastic, in a very young age, fantastic fingers and things that they can do very, very easily. They come to the harp and they play everything very young, but they don't have an idea of what it is that they want to make sound yet. You know, they don't have an idea of how to build a phrase and what kind of sound they want to have and what kind of different kinds of sound can exist somehow. And I think this has to do really a lot with the kind of general education thing, that playing a piano, it helps for sure.
I absolutely agree. And as you said, that we don't have such a repertoire, but you play many of them. We just now listen a little bit of Schumann. Yes, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous piece. Have you made the transcription, or did you take only the piano music and play it like it is?
I took on just the piano music and played like it is, yeah. Mainly. It's not much. I don't think anything is changed there, yeah. It's just just enharmonics, to be able to play the right notes in the.
Indeed. No, but it really sounds wonderfully. We will hear more things, and there I need to ask you, how did you manage to do what you are doing there? So we will wait for that. Wait for it for our audience, our listeners. You have mentioned always about your father that he is fantastic player, cello player. He is a teacher in Israel. But what about your mother? Was she also a musician?
Yes, so my mother is also a cellist. I mean, was also a cellist, and I think she even studied with. She's a little bit younger. She studied with him a little bit, but they met in a chamber music festival where they both kind of were students and playing chamber music. And but my mother also did a lot of other things. She was a dancer, so for many years, like when I was a little boy, she was mainly dancing and teaching dance. She was in a dance group in Jerusalem. Performing and teaching a lot, and then later on, dancers' careers end early, and she became a sculptor mostly. So she this was her main occupation for the last 30 years, maybe. Yes, this is one of her.
It's really beautiful. I was not sure about who is it doing it, if you have a sister maybe, or if it's one of your siblings doing it, but it's your mother. So she was not educated as a sculpturist, but she has done it by as a hobby.
I mean, she was educated, so she basically she always did all kinds of plastic art from a very young age, but kind of not seriously, not as the main thing. And then when I started playing the harp, when we went to Paris for this sabbatical year, she started taking some lessons there. And then when she came to Israel, she studied for a few more years, and then she's been working ever since. And
beautiful. It's absolutely. Does she has any exhibitions, or is it possible to?
She has had exhibitions, yes, quite a few in Israel, and also in Volterra. They were in Italy for a while, and so.
I see. So, is it your whole family is Magen?
Yes.
Or is there anyone who has different name?
Well, no, both my parents are Magen. They changed the name. So I mean, my mother, of course, had a different name before getting married, and my father had a different name also, because he was in the youth orchestra. I don't know how to translate this Gedna exactly. It's kind of a military youth orchestra or something like this, but it was just the Israeli youth orchestra at the time. And this was in the 50s, kind of shortly after the state of Israel, or early 60s maybe. And they had a tour, a very big international tour in Europe and the United States, and maybe 30 concerts. And this was the representative group of Israeli youth. And so the government at the time required from everyone to have a Hebrew name. All those people who had names from Europe who sounded German or whatever, or they asked everyone to change the name. So a lot of people changed. My father was Schutzberg.
Schubert?
No. Schutzberg.
Okay.
And a lot of people changed just for the tour and then went back to their old name when they came back. But he decided to keep his name again, so he changed it.
And is it the same meaning? Schutzberg, like the?
I think that Schutz is a protective, right? The shield, basically. So in German, so this is what it is. Magen is Schutz. Yeah, he took the mountain out of the name, but yes.
So now, when you will do heritage, you will know that your previous generation was with a different name, and you are just following now your name. And your siblings, you have two siblings, or you have more?
Two brothers. I have two brothers. Yes.
And they both, as you said, one is doing cello and the second one is playing the violin.
No, not anymore. So this was when we were kids. But my older brother is a software engineer. He's in computers, and and he's married to a physicist, and they have 3 kids. And so they I mean, he listens a lot to music, and he has a fantastic ear, but but he's not completely not in this world professionally. And my younger brother started conducting. He played the trombone also and started conducting, and now he mainly conducts choirs, and he has a lot of other projects for arrangements for, you know, orchestras and ensembles and things like this. And but they're all in Israel.
And when you were telling that you were in France for 4 years, or did I understand 4 years?
4 years, yes.
4 years. And then you went to United States to be with Nancy Allen. Yes. So how long have you stayed there?
So I was with Nancy actually for 3 years. I mean, I went to do my master's, but at the time in Paris, we had this Premier Prix. So you had to, it was like a separate thing. It wasn't a university degree. There was a specific degree for the conservatory. And in New York, in Juilliard, they didn't consider this as a bachelor's degree, because we didn't do any classes that were not music. You know, in the States, in college, they have to do humanities and things like this that are not music.
I see.
And so I had to complete kind of my bachelor's and then do my master's. So it took 3 years. But I enjoyed it because I had 3 years with Nancy, which was great. And meeting people. Juilliard is a nice place to meet people. Yes, here's Nancy and Jess. This is quite a few years ago already, 10 years ago, I think.
We were having also Nancy on the interview, and I must say I'm honored that what I'm wearing is from her. So
wow.
She's wonderful. It was a wonderful interview as well with her. So you stayed there for another 4 years or 5 years?
So no, I mean, I stayed at Juilliard for 3 years, but then I stayed in New York for 12. I was 12 years in New York. So
you were teaching there, right? Also,
I was teaching, yes, a little bit at Brooklyn College. And I was mainly playing, so kind of living in New York and playing around.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's quite nice. And of course, was there a lot of opportunities to perform, or was it very difficult?
It was different from year to year. I mean, after a while, I did have kind of a lot of groups that I played with, and quite a lot of solo things also. But it's difficult to maintain somehow. So there were a few years that went very, very well, and then there were years that were kind of, a lot of the work was working in creating more work, you know, working in calling presenters and trying to have ideas of projects and things that will go on, and this is why, you know, in the end I felt like I just got tired from this part, from the administrative and kind of promotional part. It's also completely not, it doesn't fit my personality somehow. And so it was always a very difficult thing to do emotionally for me. And so at some point I was just, okay, what is there? And I also wanted to go back to Europe and closer to Israel, because my parents are getting older, and I wanted to be able to go there more often. And so I was looking in Europe. What was the only thing at the time was here in Helsinki.
I understand. And I must say, on a mention to what you mentioned, that this is what I admire at you. You are really artist who is not going the business way. So I totally understand your way, that it was not personal, you know, for you to do these things, because if we are artists, we cannot understand what's going on with the business. But in these years, I am so tired out of it, because that the life is now only about the business, and it's not about the art anymore so much. And I admire at you, because I know and I can feel it from you that you really want to produce the art, and you know, just do it really the best way without making the business into it. And that's something that is so special, and I really thank you that there are still people like that, because I feel it's going to be disappearing. And even you are like, really, for me person who I really love in this way. Really, this is fantastic. Still, these people I can tell you people, you don't need to go business only, because you still good enough. You can play in halls like that, you really can do, and you have been playing in such a beautiful halls, and you were able to produce and really to introduce the harp in the main venues. This is super nice. Can you tell us which hall did you like the best?
Which hall did I like the best? Well, actually, the one you just showed, the Wigmore Hall, is really maybe the best place to play. It's really the picture you just showed was with my trio, Tre Voci, with Marina Piccinini and Kim Kashkashian, and so we have met at the Marlborough Festival and played together for almost 10 years. And yeah, so this was in 2018 at Wigmore Hall, and I was lucky enough when I won the Israel competition. Still, one of the prizes then was to play a recital at Wigmore Hall. So I also played a solo recital there, which was a great experience. And I think unfortunately today it doesn't happen anymore. So the people who win the competitions don't get this kind of concerts anymore somehow. But this is really a fantastic hall. And another hall that I really love is Jordan Hall in Boston. I don't know if you know this hall. Jordan Hall in Boston, which is in New England Conservatory. And also there with my trio, because Kim is teaches at New England Conservatory, and so we play there many times. And this is really also a fantastic hall. It's big for chamber music. There are, I don't know, maybe 800 seats or something like this. So it's like, normally you would think maybe it's a little too big, but actually it sounds really great. And so it's really a great hall to play in. But yeah, there are not a lot of halls that work so well for chamber music, but there are a few.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this trio which you have mentioned, which combination is it? Is it violin, cello,
it's
and
flute, viola, harp? Flute, viola, harp.
Viola, harp. Okay, and you have established this, and you are regularly playing together.
We are. I mean, right now it's more complicated. Of course, I mean, already since I moved to Europe, we are still playing together, but less often, and of course now with the corona, everything got cancelled. But yes, we play together quite a lot from 2010 on, and
and you have. I know that we have also read at the CV at the very beginning. You got a very great review for your CDs together, right? So yes. That you recorded the Gabaudelina, the trio, and yes. Of course. And what else is on the CD? Takemitsu.
Takemitsu, yeah. This CD is Takemitsu, Gabaudelina, and for us harpists who play chamber music, like I'm sure you played all those pieces many times, and most harpists who play a lot of chamber music have played those pieces many times. But for the general public, this is very unusual repertoire, of course, you know. And so we recorded. We actually met. The first time we met at Marlborough was playing, like the three of us. I played with each of them separately before, but the three of us together, we played actually the Gubaidullina trio for the first time, which was a lot of fun. And
well, I will just now not show and introduce the other piece by the trio, but by the quintet, Couplet, the Conte Fantastique. I think that many harpists know it. And well, this link which you will see there you can find also the Gabaudelina. So if you would like to see that, you are welcome. Oops, I hope it will be open. It's getting stuck. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, unfortunately, we cannot listen the whole, but I hope that you have seen the link
Yes.
so that anybody can really watch the whole piece. And as I said, there are many other pieces which you can listen to on that link. It's not on YouTube, so don't look at the YouTube. It's on the different link. So as soon as we will be over our interview, you can check it back at the YouTube Harp channel, where you will see this whole interview, and you can, of course, see the link again. Sivan, tell me what you like the best. Do you like the best to play solo or teaching? And now you are also the member of the orchestra, or actually the chamber music, which we heard. What you more prefer? Or if everything, what is the most favorite thing you do?
I mean, I like everything, but the most close to my heart is chamber music, I think. That's really what I like the best, and especially when, I mean, now what we heard just now is with my colleagues from the orchestra. Actually, this is from a concert that was broadcast during the pandemic. You know, it's a radio orchestra. So all the concerts are always broadcast on TV and on the radio, and so they, even in the period where there was a lockdown and there were no, like, the orchestra concerts were all cancelled, but they tried to keep the dates of the TV broadcasts. So we had chamber music concerts instead. So I was very lucky to have one concert that was all kind of with harp. So I also played a bit of solo and
That's fantastic.
And a few chamber music pieces. So this is with my colleagues from the orchestra, which was a great experience. But of course, I think if you go on YouTube, you can also find me playing this piece with another group that I'm part of, which is the Israeli Chamber Project, which is a very close to my heart and really good friends, and that mainly people that we studied at Juilliard together, and some of them moved back to Israel, and some are still in New York, and with them we've been playing really a lot over since 2008 already, and so we also have a recording of the couplet, which is very different. Kind of the camera work is less good, but I think it's a nice performance.
But I know also that you have established, or at least I found some pictures of this trio. This is very interesting. This
Yes.
is so unusual, this combination of, is it the guitar, there is ukulele, or is it balalaika?
Mandolin. This is mandolin. Mandolin, guitar, and harp. Yes.
Okay. And what actually the repertoire you can do with this?
So, well, this is a long time ago, actually. It's, I mean, those pictures, and we haven't played together for quite a while already. So there are two original pieces. There is a Henze. Do you know this piece by Henze? Recitative Carillon Masque. Very beautiful, really beautiful piece by Henze. And there's another contemporary piece that was written for this ensemble, and we did a lot of arrangements for duos within a kind of mandolin and harp and guitar and harp, and for the trio we commissioned an arrangement for the Alborada del Gracioso for the trio, which was fine, and a lot of the fire and things like this. Of course, I mean, they are both fantastic players, and Avi, the mandolin player, is I mean, he really has a huge career. It's like, I think there is no mandolin player ever who was playing so many concertos with the orchestra. So, I mean, now he's too busy for our trio to be going on. But I think, I mean, there's some things that are really fun to do with three plucked instruments, but it's really difficult, actually, because you know, the timing is difficult because everyone is plucking, and so to be three people together plucking, of course, you know, from, you know, when you're playing harp quartet or whatever, to be completely together is harder than when you play with string instruments or with wind instruments. And also the balance thing.
Exactly.
You're not used, when you're playing the harp, you're not used to being the loudest instrument. You're usually, you need to make an effort to be heard. This is the normal, and so being the loudest instrument, for me, it was very somehow at the beginning difficult to adjust to this, but it was a lot of fun. They're really great musicians, but it did not go on for very long. We had maybe 2 seasons or something like this. Yeah.
But exactly what you said, that I was worried if they had to use the microphone to be heard over you, because otherwise you would need to really make the volume much less when you play.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I don't think they used microphone. I mean, they both have you know, a good sound production. So it's kind of, but still, you need to be careful. And this is something we are not used to it, like in this kind of context.
Yeah, indeed, to be the loudest one, as you said. Sivan, I have now, as I have always at the interview, I have a surprise for you. We have a guest today because when we were supposed to have the interview in July, there was always someone who won the quizzes which I was creating in June at the Harp channel. Okay. And the winner got the prize to choose from the Harp guests. And we have here Maria Podzniakova, who has chosen you, Sivan, as a guest to meet online to ask you questions. And I will leave you now alone. And I'm saying to Maria, it's lovely that you come today for our broadcast. So I keep you now alone on the screen, and you are welcome, Maria, to ask 2 questions on our guest.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you so much. It's very nice to talk to you and to ask you questions. Thank you for your time. I must say I admire your style of playing, and actually the diversity of what you do, and with the same brilliance, I would say. I wanted to ask you about the chamber music, but then in my mind, I was thinking, in Russia, we have, yes, indeed, different approach to music. And did you feel that while studying in France and in US, that people treat harp and music in general differently? Did you feel, what were your experiences there?
Between France and the US, you mean?
Yes, well, between Europe and in the US.
Of course, there are a lot of differences. Specifically, well, in France, of course, the harp is a much better known instrument somehow. You know, there are. I mean, people don't necessarily know the repertoire, but kind of they are aware of this instrument also as a solo instrument, as a chamber music instrument. They know people like Lili Laskin, Marielle Nordman, and Isabelle Moretti today, and those are names that anyone who is in the kind of classical music world knows those names. And so the harp is kind of present in the classical music world. And in the States, it really depends. It's maybe less so. People are less aware of the harp as an instrument that plays outside of the orchestra. It's very much an orchestral instrument. In general, in France, in the States, I mean, there is a big how do you say, like a big accent, a big stress on orchestral playing, orchestral music, orchestral playing. The orchestras, the big orchestras, are really the main things. Of course, you have chamber music societies and chamber music series, but this is really in New York and Boston and on the West Coast a little bit, and in, you know, kind of in places. But kind of what people are really aware of are the big symphony orchestras. And so they know the harp is something that's kind of in the back of the orchestra, and very often they haven't heard it, you know, in the front. And so they kind of the way they treat the harp is quite different. Also, of course, just the way they treat music is very different. I mean, the States is it's a much bigger place with a lot of different kinds of traditions, and so in the end there is no one tradition. There is a kind of good playing, and as well as you play well, which is of course open to interpretation. What exactly does it mean to play well? But as long as you play well, as you play basically clean and you have a good presentation, then you can be heard and you can do your own things. And some people will like you and some people will not like you. And there is this kind of, so for some things it's really great, and for some things it's also a little bit of a problem. In France, there is a very strong tradition of how certain things should be played, and what is good taste and bad taste, and so on. Generally in Europe, there are very strong traditions, and I think when I came first to the States, I felt kind of relieved that I don't have to fit within a tradition, you know, that I can do things my own way, and that no one is judging me according to some criteria that's very, very set and clear, and which in France sometimes you feel like you can't do things differently. You have to do things like they're supposed to be. But then after a while you realize in the States that it means that sometimes there are no criteria, and kind of anyone can do anything. And so sometimes things are what I would find not of good taste, you know. But you know, there is something about it is I prefer that, you know, everyone can have their own way, their own voice, and it's the public who decides who will be heard and who will not be heard in the end, you know.
All right. Well,
long answer for a short question.
I totally agree. Is there anything else, Maria, you would like to ask? Because these questions were really, very nice.
Well, there was one question. Maybe it's a bit silly, but as the only Israeli that actually won Israel Harp competition, did you feel pressure on yourself, or everybody just was supporting and over nice, or how was it?
How was
During
it?
the process?
I did feel pressure. I did feel pressure, of course. But of course, you feel pressure anyway when you go to a big competition. And for me, this was the first competition I ever presented. Like I never played a competition before.
Okay.
And I was already relatively old compared to when people win competitions. I was 26. And definitely I felt that there was pressure from Israelis that wanted me to win.
Yes,
you know, there is this very strong thing. So I really tried to kind of block everything. When I came, you know, we're hosted in a hotel, and so I was basically in my room and kind of practicing, and in my room, and you know, talking to my brother who came to visit from time to time, and that's about it. Kind of, I didn't. And I think what helped was that I came from abroad. I wasn't living in Israel then, you know, already. Yeah. So I was in the States, and then I came to the competition, and I did the competition, and I tried to kind of close my eyes to everything around, and only after talk with people and everything. So that, but it was quite maybe the 2 most stressful weeks of my life. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
That's very important
that you came today to our broadcast. Thank you very much for your wonderful questions, and I wish you all my best. Hope that you are safe, that everything is okay at your country, and I hope we will see again.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you so much, Sivan. Thank you, Jana. Bye. Thank you.
It was lovely. Actually, to add these questions about Israel, as I was in the jury, as I said, when you won, I must say I really remember your first 2 rounds incredibly. You played there also, I don't know if it was in the first, I think it was in the first round. You played the Tournier Sonatina. And it was just like, I was really sitting and I was just enjoying, because it was like, it was exactly what I feel. Yeah, it was just absolutely so super. It was so musical, so safe. You show that you are the artist. So I remember that very well. And I know that it was the 50th anniversary of the competition. So it was even something very special.
Yeah, it wasn't yet the 50th anniversary. It was
20th anniversary. It was anniversary.
The anniversary was the following one. So I was in 2006. And the anniversary was 2009.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I know know that it was somehow, but I was very sure because I know that it was said that you were the one from Israel who won the anniversary.
No, I was not. No, I was the one who won the last competition, kind of. When there was the anniversary competition, I was kind of the last winner.
Right.
But it was not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, you were also playing when there was the anniversary. You were playing together with the other winners. You were playing there a concert, and this is a picture of some of them.
Oh, yes.
So,
this is from the 60th anniversary, not from the 50th. So the 50th was 2009.
Yes.
And this is 2019. So last year.
So it is exactly last year.
Lovely women.
So it's really beautiful. And you all played at one concert?
Yes, we all played in the same concert, yes.
It was solo or it was with the orchestra? Or how
with orchestra. We all played some short movement or something with the orchestra, with the Israel Philharmonic. Yeah. Also the time before. So the 50th anniversary, it was the same thing. It was a big gala concert with the Israel Philharmonic. In 2009, and then it was the opening concert of the competition, because there was a competition in 2009. Last year there was no competition, 2019. Right. So it was just kind of a standalone event. But 2009, it was great because Isabel Moretti was there, and Marie-Pierre Longlamet, and Naoko Yoshino, and it was really, and Gwyneth was there, and yes.
So just them. It's nice.
Yes. It's a nice picture.
Yeah. It's really beautiful. And do you have any memory when you were preparing this competition? How long did you prepare the program?
How long did I prepare? Well, some of the pieces I learned already earlier, but really kind of decided that I was going to the competition when I started with Nancy, so about a year before. About a year before.
I think that this picture is about that time, right? When you were, so that you have the imagination who is listening to us today. So, and it was your first time to do the competition, or have you done some competition?
It was my first time. It was my first time of any competition, actually. Yes, it was like I didn't do any harp competition before that.
That's how it should be. That you go for the first and you get it. That's it. How it should be. So that's really fantastic. And this picture which I showed, it was from that when you have got the first prize, right?
Yes, this is.
Indeed, it was with the president of the Line and Healy. Did you get the harp?
Yes.
Is it the one you have behind you?
It's not this one. This one is, well, it's a little complicated what's happening with my harps right now, but this is actually one of the orchestra harps. This is actually an old one. But the one that I played the Schumann on, that we just heard, this was the harp that I won at the competition. And it's still in New York. It's still in New York, actually. It took me a long time to decide exactly what, when I moved here, I wasn't sure how long I was moving for and what. And here I have harps with the orchestra, and I can use them for my own concerts. And I was, until the Corona came, I was still traveling a lot to the States to play whenever there were things. And so I really wanted to have a good harp there. And there is another harp that I got kind of as a legacy from and this is actually a nice story that so I used to play at the Marlborough Festival many years. I played at the Marlborough Festival in the States, and one of kind of the big names there was David Sawyer, who was the cellist of the Guarneri Quartet. And he was already retired from the quartet when I met him for the first time, but the quartet then was still going on. And his wife, Janet Sawyer, had been harpist with the Metropolitan Opera in the 40s, in the 1940s. And then she left the orchestra to play, what you called commercial stuff. So kind of TV things that at the time in New York, you would make much more money than playing at the Met at the time. And she stopped playing for many years. Anyway, and she had this old harp that was standing at her place. And when she was very old and knew she will not survive for many years, and she came after he passed away already. And she heard I played some concert at Marlborough, and she came to me after the concert and said that she had this harp, and she wanted to give it to me because she had no children. She didn't know what to do with this harp, and she wanted to just give it to me. And so this was, of course, extremely emotional. And she gave me so after about a year later, she gave me the harp, and she passed away about another year. And this harp has a very beautiful sound, but from the beginning it was clear that you can't really how do you say, you can't correct all the buzzing and everything because the neck was inclined. You know what happens to old harps.
See, of course. Yeah.
So for many years it was just standing. I was practicing on it sometimes when my harp was somewhere else or something like this, but it was not, you couldn't really play on it. And but the soundboard was beautiful. And so I ended up sending it to Chicago to get a new neck. And I was supposed to go last March to try it out and see how it's now with the new neck and everything. But of course, my trip was canceled and everything, and I had to go to the States for who knows how long now. So I'm waiting to see what will happen with this instrument, because it's really fascinating to me to know what it sounds like now with a new neck and everything. So
yeah, I wish that it is okay, because I had very similar experience with the harp which I won at the competition. After using it a lot, I have, of course, the mechanic was a little bit noisy already. So I wanted to change it, and they sent the mechanic only to Chicago. And for 3 months, the harp was without the tension, without the strings. So for 3 months, they were repairing it. Then they brought the mechanic back and they put it together on the harp. And I received the harp, which was mute. The harp absolutely without any sound. And I was really crying because this was such a gorgeous harp, which I have chosen. And it was just like a fantastic instrument. And suddenly it did not have any sound. And it took about, 2-3 years until it got again back the sound. So I also hope someone.
So this happened also to the one that I won in Israel. The one I won in Israel, maybe 4 years ago, I sent the same thing. I just sent the harp, not just the mechanism, because it was in the States, to get re-riveted, and it came back, and the sound was basically gone, like very, very stiff, very, very stiff. But also then I moved already here, and so I haven't been playing it enough because it was just standing there. And so anyway, I have to decide what to do with those instruments. But this other harp, it has a completely new neck. So I think sometimes with old instruments, when you have a new neck, which is usually a little higher, then the tension of the strings is a little higher, but with an older a soundboard. And so sometimes it sounds really great. Like Nancy did that with her harp that she won in Israel. It broke, the neck broke, and they just built a new neck, and it sounds fantastic. It sounds much, much better than before. So I'm kind of hoping to see what will happen, but who knows?
It's very important that someone is still playing it even now. Just check it that it's used, because so I'm sure it will be wonderful. But you play on the Lion and Heelys. Even you have such strength sound. You have never tried to play another harp which has much more power, like for the tension of the strings, of course.
I have played everything, from when I was in Paris, I played Kamak also at the time. It's, I think in the end, it depends of the specific instrument always. If you find the one instrument that really works for you, then but in general, I feel more comfortable with Lion and Heelys. I'm also used to it, but it's also a question of how adjustable the sound is. It's true that you have to be more careful, which for me is difficult sometimes, because I tend to play loud, but it allows for more variation in sound. This is what I feel personally, and so this is something that I like. And it's also, Lion and Heelys have been very kind to me over the years, and helped me in a lot of different ways. And so I feel like, I should keep on playing the instruments. I'm not saying that I will never change. I might change, but
I totally understand you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have the same results of that.
Yeah.
I want just now to show you wonderful touch and wonderful feeling for the instrument in another music which Sivan will play for you now. Yes, gorgeous. And now my question. First of all, your hands in this piece especially looks like Marie-Pierre's hands.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you ever had lessons with her?
I have had a couple of master classes with her when I was in Paris and in New York, and I find her fascinating and a fantastic musician. And but I somehow I don't think. I mean, maybe there are some things that we do similarly. It's possible, but kind of the basic things I think are different. But you know, who knows? Maybe there are similarities. Of course, her listening, the way that she listens to sound and to resonance and these kind of things and to harmony, those are things that I've been trying to learn from. You know, she has really incredible sensitivity, and so maybe some things are similar, but not
really,
conscious.
when I heard it for the first time, I said, like, this is exactly how Marie-Pierre would play it. And even the touch of the hands, like, it's very special way how she does it. And because it was seen from different positions, then we see the hands, it was really clear that it was somehow, I felt like it's inspired by her as well. But tell me, how did you do the chromatic things there?
Just enharmonics and a lot of practice of the handed.
It looks like a piece of cake. You know, it's really absolutely. It doesn't look like that it's difficult. And I just wondered if you have any trick for making the chromatics on the harps.
Yeah, I don't think there are any tricks. No, unfortunately. No.
Unfortunately, we still have pedals, and that's it. Yeah, indeed. But they can be some kind of. We can find some kind of way, as you said, the enharmonics of the string, which it's a very good gift of the instrument comparing to the others, but it's not easy. So
I think a lot of this is finding the right fingering, kind of knowing to change how the feet move with the fingers, like finding when they don't disturb each other somehow, and they kind of go in the same flow, to kind of always trying different enharmonics and different fingerings until you find something that works with your hand and your feet.
Yeah, you are also a great teacher, and so do you teach anywhere, like officially, or do you give only master classes at the moment?
Well, until now, I was not teaching anywhere officially. I was only having, sometimes students who would come over and things like this. But oh wow, you made a collage, impressive. Just recently, now a couple of weeks ago, I've been asked to start teaching in a school in Belgium, which is kind of a high school for gifted children. It's called Musica Mundi, which is a very new school in Waterloo, boarding school with international students from all over the world. And Catherine Michel was teaching there the last 2 years, and now she stopped and started doing other things, and they asked me to start teaching there. So I'm enjoying it very much. Of course, now it's mostly, I've only been there once, and mostly through Zoom, because the travel is complicated, and so it's not ideal, of course, but it's fun, a lot of fun.
That's great. That's wonderful. I have seen this collage which I have made that you are teaching also the little children on the very little harp. Is it something what you do very unusually, or is it something what you also enjoy to do?
Well, I'm not. I've done very, very little of this. Very little of teaching kids, and I enjoy it, but I don't feel I have the talent for it. You know, some people have a talent for this, of knowing how to approach really young kids, and how to interest them, and how to and for me, I'm maybe a little too analytical from the beginning, and kind of trying to, and with some kids it works very well, but with a lot of kids you need something in addition, kind of, and I don't have enough experience, for sure. So
you might not even know it yet, but certainly you have it. But tell me, do you, because you also become a member of the orchestra, which it's also a different point of work, and is it something what you have always dreamed to be in the orchestra, or it has just came as a option, which you, as a chance, so that you have taken it as a possibility now?
Yeah, I can't say it was really a dream. I can't say it was really a dream to play in orchestra. But of course, at some point you realize that you need some stability, something that's stable. And also there is a lot of great repertoire that we don't play usually. And of course, as a student, I learned all the excerpts and everything, and most of them I hadn't played in orchestra, so it's a great experience to be able to do this. And I'm definitely learning a lot. So I feel that, kind of as a teacher, the fact of playing in orchestra is something that's extremely helpful for me. Also because a lot of students, this is what they want to do, but also it kind of just clears a lot of things in your mind as to how things work. And this orchestra is. There are a lot of things that are special. Well, I used to come to in the summers very often to play in a chamber music festival here in northern Finland called Kuhmo, and so I had met a few people who play in the orchestra who would also come to play in the festival, and I knew that the level was very high, and they're very kind of curious and intelligent people, kind of. And this is an orchestra that plays a lot of contemporary music. Really a lot, which I like. I like that there is, I like the challenge, and I like the openness and the fact that the public loves it here, which is something that's unheard of. Like the kind of programs that they have here, and with a always full house, and the public loves the challenging programs. They don't want to hear just Mozart and Beethoven and Brahms. It's kind of, of course they enjoy the Mozart and Beethoven and Brahms, but so for me as a harpist, it's interesting because there's always interesting things to do. There's a lot of 20th century and at the same time there is a lot of flexibility. So the orchestra allows me to take time off almost whenever I need. So almost whenever I have other things. So this is something also that I feel
very good.
I'm very, very lucky that I can keep on doing my own things at the same time, and not be kind of tied into something. So this is really fantastic.
I totally agree. And I will now, as you mentioned that you are playing in Kuhmo, I think that we have one example. Just first part, I will ask you after about this piece, which we will now listen to. unfortunately, again, it stops not in the middle, in the very short time. So of course, we will be listening a second part of it or a little bit later on. Can you tell me or tell us a little bit about this piece, because it's very, very special one?
Yes. So first of all, this is not from Kuchmot. This is actually with the Israeli Chamber Project. So my friends with the Israeli Chamber Project, and Michal Korman is the cellist, and Tibi Zeiger is a clarinet player and artistic director of the group. And so part of what this group does is commission music from young Israeli, or not just young, but Israeli composers, and play a lot of Israeli music, kind of among the kind of big repertoire pieces. And I've been also very lucky within this group. I haven't sent you videos of this, but that they allow me to do a lot of arrangements. So we do a lot of kind of crazy things like Mozart piano quartet and things like this that they allow me to try out and do in concerts. In any case, this piece was commissioned from Gilad Cohen, who is a friend of all of ours, but especially my very, very good friend from since we were 8 years old. So I've known him longer than I've been playing the harp. And Gilad is coming from the world of rock music. I mean, he studied. He has a doctorate from Princeton University in composition, and he's a professor in a college in the States and everything. But kind of his background is from rock music, and Pink Floyd is his kind of theme for a lot of what he wrote, and so he's always looking for ways to write music that has something of the non-classical background in it. And I was very lucky because he wrote me so far 3 pieces. So there's this trio, there is a quintet, also with clarinet and strings, and there is a 1 solo piece, which are all very, very beautiful pieces and very different from each other. And so for me, it's a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun with this piece. And always, I mean, we played this piece many times in concert, and always the public loves it. It's one of those things that they always, they see the new music on the program and they think, it's something I'll have difficulty with, and then they hear this piece and they're so surprised that it's something that they can relate to easily and have fun with. So, and I think. Actually, what I forgot to say about Gilad is that when we were studying in New York, when I was at Juilliard and he was doing his master's in Mannes School, we were roommates. And so when he was preparing the Israel competition, we were roommates, and so he had me practice all the time, and he knows all the harp repertoire, all the Grand Chenier and Renier and Tournier and all those things. And so there is, of course, he's looking always for very unusual things to do with the instrument. So it's not very easy. But he knows the instrument very well, so which is something that's very unusual for composers who write to kind of have an intimate, who are not harpists, to have quite an intimate knowledge of the instrument. So,
but it interests me. Is not he a guitar player?
He is, yes, yeah.
That helps. I know that there are composers as. One of the Czech composer, Lukáš Sommer, who has also written a concerto for me, he is a guitar player, and he did not need to introduce the harp because he understood exactly the way how it functions. It's very interesting, maybe because they have the similar using of the fingers, so they understand what it's possible. So that helps also to the composer, but it's not very usual, and certainly wonderful that we have composers like that. And can you tell us a difference between the first part, which we have heard, and now what we will hear at the second part, as I show you what I have chosen?
So, I recommend to people, if you have the time, to go and listen to the piece, because it's hard to get a concept just from those pieces, of course. But the piece is basically written in 3 movements. I mean, it's one piece, but there are 3 sections that are really kind of. And what we just heard is the very beginning, and then what we're going to hear is the end of the second section, which is the more rocky section, going kind of back into the third part.
Okay, so let's enjoy. again a question how it continues. So every who listened can just watch it later. Of course, don't miss to watch really and listen to the whole piece. It's really interesting. Sivan, tell me, is there anything now, as you said, that you can now still play? You have still concerts. You are open to to make your professional. Do you have any concerts now coming up?
Yeah. So next week I'm playing actually Finastera Concerto with Tampere Philharmonic, which is Tampere is, I think, the second biggest city in Finland, and they have a very good orchestra. So I'm very happy that this is coming up. It's always a great piece to play.
Absolutely.
And I have later on in November a solo recital with a program that I also enjoy very much. I've been trying to work during this last month on a project that I've been thinking of for many years, of learning all the French suites, all the Bach French suites. And so I'm doing 2 of those that I haven't played yet in this concert, and then a lot of French music to go with it, which is also always fun.
That's fantastic. So I hope you will be able to listen to you also. Maybe you will stream it, or maybe we can.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, the concerto it's not allowed because there is the orchestra musicians have contracts. I don't exactly know, but unfortunately, we cannot stream it. I mean, I will have a recording, but kind of only for my own use. That I'm not allowed to share. The recital, maybe there will be something, I don't know yet, but
that would be that would be wonderful. And because, as I always also explain, we are not only musicians, we are also human beings, and you have also your own life. And I have some pictures which I would like you to go through, and you can just tell us a little bit stories about that. You have sent me this picture. Tell me who is. I know that you don't have a child, so whose child is?
No, so this is Gilad's youngest daughter. Gilad is a composer whose music we just heard. This is his youngest daughter. In Israel, we were all by chance in Israel at the same time. So
that's wonderful. And here we have a group of people. You're on the left in the red shirt, and this is some masterclass, I guess.
No, so this is from the Paris Conservatory. I was replacing Isabelle. Took a sabbatical, Isabelle Moretti, and I was replacing her for 1 semester in 2017. And this is at the end of the semester, which was very, very hot in Paris in June, and we were taking this group photo with the students and with Geneviève, who is Isabelle's assistant professor.
I can now see that there is as well the winner of the last USA competition, the second one on the left, or the right, sitting on the right, and then the third prize winner. And I'm so sorry, I don't remember now exactly what's her name, in the green dress. It's the second, it's in the middle, sitting in the green dress, but I don't remember her name. But she was having the third prize at the
Yes, she's a fantastic musician. She's a fantastic musician, and yes, they're all. I mean, I must say that this is one of the great pleasures that I had maybe in my professional life, to be able to teach this group of players for 6 months, and that it's really, I think there is something that it's not just that they play very, very well, it's also the curiosity and the ability to go really deep into detail, which is something that I think it's very French, but it's also specific to Isabelle's teaching, that she is very, very detailed in how she teaches, and so it trains people to really, really think deeply into what they're doing and be able to change things. That sometimes you meet students who are fantastic, who play extremely well, but then you ask them to change something and they can't, because they only know their own way of playing, kind of. And this is so it was fantastic, and Melanie and Mathilde and everyone else there, and it's all a great group of people.
Yes. Now we have also a duo. Is it your brother? No, it's not your brother.
No. This is Itamar. Itamar is one of the members of the Israeli Chamber Projects, and we've played a lot together. Also as a duo. I almost sent you one of our recordings, but I was sending too many things, so I ended up not sending our video also, since Hans from many years ago. So Itamar it's just a good friend, a fantastic violinist. He won. He was kind of the main prize winner at the Tchaikovsky competition in 2011 or something like this, and really one of the people I enjoy playing with the most.
I can imagine, and I agree with the great violinist. It's always such a pleasure. Here it's probably your mom, right?
This is my mom. Yes, this is in Italy. In Italy, with one of her sculptures in an exhibition that she had in Italy, in Volterra.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And here we have Maria Nordman.
Yes.
Of course, also one of the guests we had already in the summer.
Yeah, and this is all in Israeli.
So wonderful. This is another fantastic hall where you performed. Do you remember what did you play there?
Yes, so this is from the closing concert of the Sydney World Harp Congress at the Opera House, the Sydney Opera House, and it was Rodrigo Concerto Serenata.
Yes, that's super. And here we have. You can tell us a little bit more about it.
So this is my trio. This is Marina Piccinini, the flutist, and Kim Kashkashian, the violist, who are both fantastic players. And this is just post-concert in Philadelphia, I think. I think this was in Philadelphia.
You are there staying with the lady in the red, and
this is from the Marlborough Festival. So the Marlborough Festival, I'm not sure if people, at least in Europe, are very much aware of what it is exactly. It's a chamber music festival that was founded by Serkin, the great pianist Rudolf Serkin. And it exists for now 70 years, I think, in Vermont. For every summer, it's 7 weeks long every summer in Vermont. And the concept is that there are young participants and kind of senior participants. And the senior participants are leading musicians, chamber musicians mainly. So it was, at the time, it was Serkin and Marcel Moïse and then Casals came, and Tortelier, and a lot of the great American string quartets started there. You know, the Guarneri quartet started there, and then they started coming as senior members later on. And so this is kind of a hub of chamber music, and a lot of the great chamber music that happened in the United States started there somehow. And now for many years, the artistic director is pianist Mitsuko Uchida, a Japanese pianist, and Richard Good was there, and Andras Schiff for a little while. And for me, it was an amazing place because I came the first time 2006, so just before the competition in Israel, and it was an incredible experience. I was the only harpist, and there hadn't been a harpist there for a few years already before, and playing chamber music. And the concept there is that you have a lot of time. This is why it's 7 weeks long, because you just rehearse until you feel like you've done everything that you could with the piece, and then you decide if you propose it to a concert or you don't propose it. You can just stop or propose it to a concert, and so people rehearse many more pieces than they actually perform at the end. And so it's kind of a place where you have time with music too, and so to do, of course, for us, we don't have enough repertoire to make this work for many summers somehow, because of course, you know, you can do 15 rehearsals on a Debussy sonata and feel that you checked everything and you looked through all the things, and then to do it the second time, the third time, it just becomes a little too much, and we don't have all the Beethoven quartets or Schoenberg quartets or whatever the things that people are doing, but I've had some really fantastic experiences there and just met amazing musicians I kept on playing with for many years. So the picture that you showed is from the last time I was there, was 2017, and I was there 6 times between 2006 and 2017. I think 6 times.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah. Yes, we have another picture here.
Yeah, so this is just with my friend Ken Weno. Just I thought it was a funny thing that we just met completely by chance in Hong Kong a couple of years ago, which is something that somehow happens when you're a musician and you travel places and you just end up meeting at the end of the world someone you did not expect to. It's a lot of fun.
That happens. And here you have, now we can see as a teenager.
Yes, so this is from my second summer at Marlborough, 2007. So it's exactly 10 years before the previous picture we saw. So I guess I changed quite a bit between.
And here you were the part of the jury.
Yes, so this is the jury of the Israel competition in 2012. So this was, for me, really, really interesting to see from the others. It was, I mean, I had been in juries in other competitions before, but somehow to be in the jury of this competition was very kind of emotional for me, and interesting to be able, also with Isabel, who had been my teacher, to be in the same jury. And
jury, yeah. So. Here we have Sergio Natra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you know how is he now? Because he's really a big legend of the only as a composer, but for the harpist as well, because he has really written so many harpistic harp work. Actually, I would like you might give us the true explanation why he was so interested in the harp. Did he has any reason why he was so connected with the instrument?
You know, I don't know, but I think it has to do with the competition. I don't think he had a personal connection like Ami Mayani or something like this that had a personal connection with the instrument. But I think because of the competition there, the composers first of all wrote for the harp because they were commissioned to write. So I think his first pieces were commissioned. I don't know if it was the Sonatine or the Prayer or one of those solo pieces. Was the first one to be commissioned for the competition, and then he met all those harpists who played his music because of the competition, and they liked playing his music, so they kept on commissioning from him, and he had contacts with harpists and also with jury members. So in this concert where we played, this was for his 90th birthday with the Israeli Chamber Project also, and we played his piece, which is called Homage to Nicanor, which was for Nicanor Zabaleta. It was written for Nicanor Zabaleta, and it's written for the Ravel ensemble for like the introduction allegro, and so he was also in touch with the jury members and wrote for them and for. So he just ended up writing really, really a lot. I think there's a new piece of his that is now for the USA competition program, and new piece that on their program, which is incredible that he's still writing it. I mean, he just wrote so much music actually.
I know.
I mean, also for other instruments. He just wrote really a lot of music.
Because I know when I was competing in Israel, it was in the festival we played the duo for the music for violin and harp.
Ah, yes, yeah.
And then I was premiering his piece, which he has written for me. It was the in one movement, sonata in one movement, I think, for the harp and string quartet. It was also I know that he has written so many, even they are not even known because there is so many compositions. Yeah. So it's a wonderful person, and his son also. He's so supportive.
Very much so.
Yes. Also, I circled you. Nobody could find you in such a short time. So it's your orchestra, probably, right?
No, this is with the same group, the Israeli Chamber Project. This is a chamber music tour. So just all those people who are smiling, they are part of the group, and everyone else are just normal travelers that have nothing to do with the group. So this is one of the. I think we're going from New York to California or something like this. Just those are all very good friends of mine, and this is really one of the luckiest things that to play with good friends who are also great musicians, and get to play concerts with them. This is a lot of fun.
I agree, absolutely. Here we only show how it looks like when you travel with the instrument, right?
So this is also, we were very often traveling. This is from the kind of the beginning in New York and in the States. This, I think also San Francisco or something. And we were often traveling 5 people in one van with the harp and the cello.
Wow! Wow!
So kind of somehow finding a way to fit the harp and the cello and the suitcases and violin, viola, and so.
Yeah. Sometimes it's possible to fit the harp in such a special way. Because I remember not only that, of course, the harp and 2 children, the trolley, and, like 2 adults and suitcases and many things, and we fit into one car. And then I remember when I was playing as a duo with Marie-Pierre Langlame, she had a Golf, Volkswagen Golf, the little car, and we both of us there with the harp.
Wow!
But it was like there, we were like she was sitting like that, I was sitting like that, but we managed. We could fit. It's possible. There is many.
I've heard a lot of amazing stories about you from Janne Thompson, the flutist, and that I've played with quite a few times. And she has a lot of memories with how amazingly you managed always with the kids and the harp and the traveling and the everything and the.
We're traveling a lot at that time together. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, she's wonderful for this. She's wonderful for this. I'm also thinking about inviting her for the interview because she's really very special one.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Here we have also a picture of a beautiful 2 harp players, man. We already, of course, our guest today, and we have also another guest who was here 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. Of course. So that it's wonderful that we have. And who is the lady between 2 of you?
The lady is Bridget Kibbe, who is a fantastic harpist, American harpist. Bridget Kibbe. She lives in New York, and she has a very big career in the United States. She's very somehow in Europe she comes less often, but she performs really a lot in the States. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Fantastic harpist. Yeah,
that's great. Okay, here we have another group. You can tell us who is there.
So this is from another festival in Cleveland, Chamber Fest Cleveland. So you see the slightly older gentleman who sits in the back is Frank Cohen, who was principal clarinet with the Cleveland Orchestra for maybe 40 years. And he recorded with them all the clarinet concertos and everything, and they're really a fantastic clarinet player. And he started with his daughter Diana, who's kind of in front of him. He started this festival in Cleveland, which is a great festival, really. Another chamber music festival.
Super. And here we have another very interesting picture. Did you some choreography with the dancer, as I can see?
Yes.
Right?
This is from the Delft Chamber Music Festival in Holland, in Netherlands, and this was part of it was actually something that was happening 3 times in a row in a very unusual space, and so there were actors and dancers, and we were all each playing kind of a short. Like here, I was playing La Châtelaine Forêt. La Châtelaine Tour, and he was dancing around me, and then there were actors like different kind of chamber music pieces around this space. I don't have a picture of the entire space, but kind of very unusual space, and the audience was in the middle, and everything was happening around them, and they did it kind of in the same day 3 times because there were not a lot of time, not a lot of space for the audience, so they wanted to.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Here you have also another. It's probably also from some of the festival.
Yeah, this is it from Aspen Festival, where I was teaching in 2018, I think.
Great.
This is also great.
Here I found a picture with a great harpist also from Russia, Maria Khrushchevskaya. We will have her also later as a guest. And here it's also a picture with 2 other wonderful harpists. One was of course, been attending. Both of them also winners of the competitions.
Yes.
And here we have, you can tell us also, again, we have wonderful harpists there.
Yes,
Yeah.
so this is Emmanuel and Mariko from the Met. We had just played a concert at Carnegie Hall with the Met Orchestra. They asked me to join because the concert was all ring cycle. I think, I don't remember if it was just Götterdämmerung or kind of, it was all like like Wagner, the entire concert with 6 harps. So we were just playing 6 harps at Carnegie Hall, and then we went to have a drink after.
Oh, that's
a lot of fun.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And tell me, because here is also photo, you go often to Asia?
I don't know if I go often to Asia. I've been to China a few times and to Hong Kong and to Taiwan once. I have not. I was supposed to go this year 3 times to Japan, but I actually haven't, and I hadn't been to Japan yet. And I was supposed also to go to Korea this year, to South Korea, and I also haven't been.
So, I'm very sure. But yeah, when you get to Asia, do you like, what kind of food do you like? Because I have also find that you are a very good gourmand. You eat a lot nicely. And so what do you like for food?
It's funny. What do I like? I like all kinds of food. I like all kinds of food when it's good, and I'm always happy to experiment. Even though I must say, in China sometimes the food can be extremely spicy, and we played once on tour, chamber music tour, and there was one concert in Chongqing, which is a city kind of in the middle of China, a huge city which I hadn't known about, but there are 30 million people who live there. And it's kind of historically part of the center of the Sichuan region. And the thing that they like, that is most typical, is a thing called hot pot. Do you know what this is? Hot pot. It's kind of a soup that's boiling. It's a little bit like a meat fondue. You know, but you have all kinds of things, vegetables.
Of course, yeah, I know. It's a big thing in the middle. It's like I know. And you have either not only the vegetable, but you have meat and you have things like that. I know.
And so we went one of kind of the first nights to some restaurant as a group, like that, you know, that someone recommended, and we went, and there was this great hot pot in the middle, and they had like a partition in the middle of the soup, like half was not spicy, and half was very, very spicy. And so you could choose which one you are putting, if you're going to the spicy or to the not spicy. So I tried 2 from the spicy just to see how it is, and everything else did from the not spicy. And then the next day we had the concert, and after the concert ended, they took us back to the hotel, and we went to look for dinner. It was like 11 p.m. or something, and the only places that were open were local hotspots. So not the one that we went for was for tourists, you know. And then the only thing that was open was for locals. And so they give you the soup. There is the non-spicy version doesn't exist. It's only the spicy, and it kept, like, I was extremely hungry, but I just could not eat it. It was just not possible. You know, you have 2 bites and that's it. Your mouth is burning in, and you can't eat anymore. So this is the only thing in China that I felt like, and I haven't tried the crazy things in China, but a lot of the food is fantastic, of course.
Yeah, very right. I remember that as well. That's very true. And do you have any hobby? Because I have found that you like the
This is all fun that friends were making fun of me. This is with Gilad. This on the left, very, very funny picture from where we were hiking with my brother. This is my brother with a hat. My older brother Carmel. This is in New York State, outside of New York City. And on the left is Gilad, the composer of the piece that we heard. But all those other pictures, it's just people who were making fun of me and taking pictures of this. So it's not anything serious.
But it's nice to see you also as a really human being as a normal. And I must say, it was wonderful when we met for the first time in USA. Can you imagine what year it was?
So this from Tacoma?
It was from Tacoma, indeed. Exactly. You remember?
I don't remember what year it was, Tacoma, but it was a long time ago.
About, I think, 2010.
Something like this, yes.
Yeah, it was about that. Then we met in Chicago, 2014. We were having this recital together, and then we met in Prague.
Yes.
And and it seems to be like yesterday, but it's also 2 years.
Yes, 2 years ago already. Yes, in Prague.
It's incredible how time flies. But I hope you will have time to come back and not only visit, but that you will be able to play and perform to show your art to the audience of our country. And Sivan, I would like to ask you, because we have to also unfortunately finish. It's time. And I just want to ask you a last question. Or not last, 2 more last questions. I would like to know, what do you find in the music as the most important?
In the music or in the playing, you mean? I don't know.
What do you find that it's important in the music, not in the playing, in the music, like generally?
Well, for me, the most important is the communication, but the communication of an emotion, the communication of a concept, of something that is not describable in words somehow. Kind of the power of music to connect between the composer and the audience, and then between the performer and the audience, in a way that can't be defined in words, and can move people to places that nothing else can move them. And this is for me the most important thing.
I totally agree. I feel that the music can be played different by different people, but if it touches the audience and it gives some kind of speech to them, then it can be played absolutely different. But how to speak to the people and to give, and that's why I love so much in the music that every person is so different, because we are different people. And if we stay original and we are not trying to copy the others, it will be always special for the audience. So I totally agree with you, what you said. And do you have any of your dream which has not yet come true, but you wish that comes either in your professional or private life?
A dream that I wish would come. I don't know. I have many dreams of kind of, personal kind that I don't know. I hope to be able to continue to do the things that I love, which is not obvious. Yeah, I will. I keep on a lot of a very open mind as to what the future would look like, and where my life. I know that I haven't necessarily arrived to the place or to the kind of life that I will end up in. Even though I'm not that young anymore. But I feel like there is still a lot that can happen, or that might happen, or that might not happen. But I don't want to put limits to things.
Absolutely, I understand. Yeah. But still, it was not my last question. I have one more.
Yes.
Did something unusual happen in your professional career ever on the stage?
Did something unusual happen on the stage?
What was either surprise for you that something happens in the audience, or that was surprise for you because it has happened around you on the stage, or it has happened directly to you, that you lost your shoe, or something like that. That is very unusual.
I don't think anything like that. That's completely. I mean, of course, what seems very unusual to the public is when you break strings in a concert, which is something that sometimes you get reactions from people. I played a concert in Alaska once, and I Finistera, actually, the first time I played Finistera concerto. And at the beginning of the cadenza, you have this big glissando in fortissimo that gets to the high E. And I was so excited, I was playing so loud. I broke 2 strings, the D and the E at the top. So I had to stop and change the strings. And I had this cutter, this kind of big cutter and after the concert, the only things that the people in the public could talk about was the strings that I had to change, and especially the fact that I was using tools, on the harp. It seemed like I touched them somehow, because for them, Alaska is far away, and a lot of people are very kind of manual, working with their hands, And so the fact that someone comes and play the harp, but then can also use a tool, not that I did anything with it, I only cut a string, but was a strong impression for them. But this is, of course, it's not such an unusual thing to happen, to break strings but yeah, I don't really know.
It's unusual for the audience, as you said. I'm not stopping with the questions, because I would really regret that I have not asked you. Can you cook?
I can, yes.
So what kind of cuisine you like to cook the best, or the most?
What I enjoy the most is baking cakes, but I try not to do it too often, because I don't want to have to eat them. I don't want to end up eating them, not to have to. It sounds like I don't want to, but so I only do it for occasions and things. But I really enjoy it. I really enjoy doing pies and cakes and things like this.
Except Finland, and of course, except France, except Israel, which country you like the most?
Oh, it's hard to answer. There are a lot of places that I love. I love Amsterdam, and I love Italy. Small places in Italy. I do feel closest to the European cultures somehow, and I don't know. This is, it goes with what is my dream, and that I was always thinking, where would I want to live? And I don't have an answer for this, because there are so many places I would like to live, but not necessarily just there, so there is kind of I love the old Europe. I love France in all of its different kinds. They are the different regions that are so different from each other, with different cultures and different foods and different wines and cheeses and all those things. And in Italy, the same thing, that it's so different from each region to the other, but still so rich and still so Italian. There is something very, very strong about this. So I enjoy discovering places also.
That's wonderful. And I'm sure you like also Spain, right?
Yes, Spain I know much less well, unfortunately. I need to go there more often, yes.
But
how about you? What's your favorite place to go?
I think for me it's most important with whom I am there than where I am. So for me, I like anywhere where I feel happy to be with someone. So it's nothing what personally I need to go somewhere because I love the country. I'm really flexible with that. And and of course I love my country because I feel that it's one of the most beautiful country in the whole world. But I feel everywhere where it was some kind close to my life, I felt always at home. And it really always happens that I love the country where I find the people kind and lovely. And of course, if I'm there personally with someone who I love by myself, then I can be anywhere else. So it's really the most important. Yeah, but I really thank you, Sivan. You are, as I said at the beginning, not only fantastic musician, not only great harpist, but you are really a wonderful person. And you have also now only confirmed and said by your presence to the whole audience. And I'm sure that everybody enjoyed today's guest, today's interview, today's answers. And I'm so thankful that you took your time, Sivan, and I wish you all my best. Please stay safe. And I really hope that not only on the screen, but that we will be able to see in person very soon. And
And I just wanted to say thank you to you, Jana, and that I think it's fantastic, the project that you're doing for the harp world, and everything that you're investing in it is really unbelievable to me, where you find the time to do all those things. But I think it's really fantastic, and so thank you for having me here and including me in this.
Thank you. My big pleasure. Really, for such a people as you are, it's really big pleasure for me. So I wish you good luck for everything. All your dreams come true, I'm sure. And we will only follow SIVAN MAGEN, and we will be sure that we will hear about him, we will see him, and please follow him anywhere he will perform and he will be seen. So I wish you all my best wishes.
Thank you.
We'll see next week again at the Harp channel. This time next week will be again non-harpist, and it will be wonderful oboist Francois Luleux from France. So I wish you all my best. Take care, SIVAN, and we will see certainly each other soon. All my best to everyone.